Hello everybody, my name is Caden and this is episode 6 of the Aston Villa FM save, and today we're going to go through the transfers made in January, what transfers are in progress, and we're going to go through this Newcastle game, and at the end I'm going to play this game and I'll come back and tell you if we're finishing the top 8 in the Europa League, which right now we sit in 6th with one game to go, so hopefully we're finishing the top 8 so we don't have to play 2 games. But let's go through the results and then we'll go through the transfers. I left off, if I can remember correctly, here, Nottingham Forest. We beat Nottingham Forest 1-0. It was Daniel Marlon with a goal. He'd just picked up an injury before it and managed to score, but it was only a slight knock. Then for this Crystal Palace game, we had a reminder of what happened in the first game of the season against Newcastle when we won 4-3. This time it was away at Selhurst Park, and they scored in the 90th minute. We scored in the 84th minute. But it was a pretty good game. Swansea 5-3 in the cup. We played our backup keeper, who had a great game, even though we conceded 3. This Everton we've scored a penalty with Josh Sargent. He has been our starting striker. Gessan has been on international duty, but he is back now. Ollie Watkins has picked up an injury that will leave him out for 5 weeks. He should be back soon as well. And then this Lech Poznan game, we won 6-2. An own goal here. We had Gessan scoring for the first time since his international duty. This is his first game, and as you can tell, if you look at the last couple of games, there's no Emiliano Martinez, and there is a reason for that. I think this was his last game for the club. He was still at the club at the Swansea game, I think, but he was on the bench. So we go to recruitment, we go to more, and we go to transfer history. You can look, we have, is it at the bottom or is it at the top? It's at the top. Emiliano Martinez has been sold for £42 million. And the reason why we don't have a goalkeeper at the moment is because Noah Atabolo is a keeper that we've put a bid in for. However, he's took over 2 weeks to accept a bid. Chelsea wanted him. And if we don't get him, it's not good, because I've looked at some of the options, some of the younger keepers, and none of them really jump out at me, the ones that are interested, except for Noah Atabolo. Sorry if the pronunciation is bad. We have a lot of money as well because of the sales we've made, because we've also sold Boubacar Kamara, if you've noticed, for £70 million to Manchester City. I got the bid in. I had to delay it until we got the sale of, where is it? I think I'm blind. Where is it? There he is. Lewis Ferguson from Bologna for £30 million. Every time I try to go into a bid for a CDM that it could be as can live up to Kamara's level-ish, they all wanted a lot of money, more because it was in January. Same with the goalkeepers. The reason why I've gone with, I'm not pronouncing it, Noah Atabolo, I'm going to try and say it right every time, is because when I went in to put bids in for Diogo Costa, they wanted 150 million plus, and then when I went in for Truben, they wanted me to pay his release clause of £86 million, which I was genuinely considering because we do have a lot of money. However, if I was to spend 86 on a keeper when I was selling someone for 42 million, it doesn't really make sense. So I've gone for someone cheaper, if he does join the club, that is. We go back to our transfer history. We have also signed Julian Ryerson as a right back because Matty Cash has gone to Spurs for 36 million. We got Ryerson in for 25 million. I thought Matty Cash hasn't been great for us. He's got a 6.79 average rating. He scored a goal but no assist. So I went, let's get someone who's a little bit I think Ryerson's the same age. We decided to get someone who was cheaper and who could probably do the same, or if not better, for us. His first game in the Prem was just as poor as Matty Cash's has been so far. Then we've signed Jonas Wind as a backup striker because Gesand was on international duty, and Ollie Watkins has picked up an injury. And is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for now. So it's been a pretty hectic window, I would say. Is there any other sales? I don't think there is. No. But I got 2 bids from Manchester City for both of our centre-backs, Pau Torres and Consa, and they're both currently slight concern because they wanted to join City, both of them. One of them wanted to join City because it's a bigger club, one of them wanted to join because they have higher wages. That's going to be a bit of an issue. Morgan Rogers and Daniel Marlin are both wanted. Morgan Rogers wanted by Arsenal. His value is quite high. I would consider cashing in on him if we was to get a high bid, but he is only young. It's something to consider though. Daniel Marlin, I don't think I'm going to sell him because his price tag's low and we have been playing him this entire season. Torres, I just don't think I want to sell him for cheap. His value is cheap for him. He should be at least 50 to 60 million pounds. Ian Matson, he's not wanted, luckily. Consa's not wanted anymore, but City do want him. And I think that is it. We've only got one signing that we're waiting to join the club. So now, all we've got to do is go into this Newcastle game. We're currently playing Asako in net. He's actually been doing pretty well lately for us. He's had 1 start, 7.5 match rating in the league. He's had a couple of Europa League appearances, getting a 6.9 average rating. And then in the Cup, he's got a 6.95 average rating. So, for now, he can do a job. But we're against a team that we only just beat 4-3 at Villa Park at the start of the season in Newcastle United. So we're just going to jump straight into it. This is the team. Gesand at striker. We're joined by Josh Sargent. We have changed his role as a target forward. We've got Daniel Marlin on the right-hand side and Morgan Rogers on the left-hand side. We've got Lewis Ferguson in CDM, joined by Amadou Onana. I think we might need to change the role. We'll leave it for now and then I'll decide later whether we change this role to suit Ferguson a little bit more. We have Torres at centre-back with Ezri Konsa. We have Ian Matson at left-back, Ryerson at right-back, Asako in net for now. Hopefully with the new keeper coming in very soon because there's not much time left in deadline day. So we'll play this now. I'll cut. We'll come back after I've played the Europa League game and I'll let you know how we've done in that game. We'll see if the keeper's joined then, and if he's not, kind of a bit of a worry. We'll find if he hasn't joined by the Europa League game. The next time you'll actually find out whether he does join is probably in March when we do these 2 fixtures. So we've been a little bit busy over the window, but now it's time to get busy in the game. Make sure we've got enough subs because in the Europa League game we have so many players that are unregistered that we had a thin bench. And because of the injuries and the fitness issues, we have a thin bench. Hopefully Watkins should be back very soon. He's not been too great. He started off really well and then he's just been poor since he got the injury. The first injury. Could be someone that we look to cash in on in the summer because we just haven't. Like, if he's not scoring and he's always injured, there's no point keeping him. We may as well just get a younger player that's not as injury prone. But we will start this game now. As always, if you do like the content, please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, and even turn on notifications. And if you've missed the previous 5 episodes. Please make sure you go back and check them out. I'm sure you'll enjoy them if you do enjoy this video. Let me know. Rate the transfers in January and rate the transfers that I did in the summer and compare them. Were the transfers I made in the summer better, or were the transfers I made in the January better? Because I am intrigued to know which you prefer. I think the first one for me is better, but only because we've sold high-profile players in this January window, but it makes sense in my head why we've done it. But we will commentate on the game now. Ezri Konsa gives it to Lewis Ferguson. Torres out wide to Morgan Rogers. Cuts it across for Lewis Ferguson. He tries to get his first goal at the club. He wasn't allowed to play in the Europa League game because he was unregistered, and we're not allowed to register him until the next round of the Europa League, which hopefully we do finish in the top 8. I don't see any problems that could happen. Anthony Gordon now has the ball in a dangerous area, but Sacco with the save, and it's out for a corner kick. Highlight again now for Newcastle. It's Trippier to Bruno Guimaraes, back to Trippier. Fabian Schär to Lobotka. Lewis Hall out wide. Gordon further up the pitch, switches it to Alanga. Back for Trippier, back to Alanga. Bruno Guimaraes switches it to Lewis Hall. Lobotka finds Gordon to Nale. Lobotka, Gordon, Alanga to Trippier. Lobotka to Nale. Playing 1-2 there. Trippier over to Guimaraes and tries to save. Nick Waltemada has gone down in the box with an injury. I think Asako with the save there. I didn't see it because I was focused on the injured Nick Waltemada. I don't know if he's got. I think he should be going off the pitch. Yeah, he's gone off for Johan Visser. 20 minutes in, 0-0. Newcastle do have a corner. It's not going to be shown though. Still showing Waltemada at striker, but it's just said he's been replaced. Yeah. I don't know. Corner whipped in and Bruno Guimaraes hits the side netting. There we go, it says Visser now at the strike for Newcastle. Julian Ryerson now with the corner kick. Oh yeah, with the sale of Martinez, we did have to change our captains there. And I think our captain is actually Josh Sargent, and the backup is, I think, Ryerson. I had to choose captain and the vice captain. It made me change John McGinn. I don't think I've got rid of him. I think he's on the bench. So I'm not sure about that, but it doesn't really matter anyway. Newcastle are looking 10 times the better team than us in this first half an hour, but Asako keeping us in it. I just don't think I want to play Asako for the rest of the season, but we might be forced to. He's doing well here, and we only brought him in for 1.5 million. The value is now 6 to 6.6. Could be a hidden gem. Sargent to Marlon. Marlon cuts in and shoots. It's a great save by our former keeper Emiliano Martinez. Ian Matson to Pau Torres. Back to Matson. Lewis Ferguson. Highlight goes away. Asako has the ball. He's going to boot it all the way up to Josh Sargent, but Sven Botman gets there first. Sandro Tonali gives it Lewis Hall. Passed around well by Newcastle. Switch to Alanga from Gordon. Bruno. It was all over the place then, but I think it was deflected for a corner. Hard to keep up as it is without the million passes. Alanga's fouled by Ian Matson. He's going to pick up a yellow card. Fitness starting to creep in. Some concerns for Onana, Rodgers, Sargent, and Pau Torres. Think all of them might have played in the Europa League fixture. I'm not quite sure. No, Sargent did. Rodgers did. I'm not sure if Onana did. I'm pretty sure Pau Torres did. I think Onana did, actually. Yeah, it's probably the Europa League fixture that's making these tired. Gassan played in the Europa League as well. We couldn't play Jonas Wind in the Europa League because he wasn't registered. Morgan Rodgers had gone down with an injury, which is going to be a concern. Okay, we're back now. I've just got a call that I've just took. Yeah, I've just subbed him off. Yeah, sorry for the cuts. I was just taking a phone call. Saved by Osako. Sargent to Jadon Sancho. Cleared by Hall. Anthony Gordon now has it. Back for Lobotka. Anthony Elanga. Half time 0-0. We're going to make some changes because people are already tired. Ring Sargent off for Jonas Wind, who can play in this game. Amadou Onana for Carazor. I think that'll be it for now. Maybe Matson to come off because he's got on the yellow card. We don't want a red card. Because for the Swansea game, we went down to 10 men. That's why we ended up conceding 3. I think we conceded 1 before he got injured in the Swansea game, and then that brought us down to 10 men. But we do have a highlight here. It's Daniel Marlon to Julian Ryerson. Johan Wissel. Ryerson wins it back off Gordon. Goes out of play for a goal kick. Consa clears, but Elanga now has it. It's Trippier to Nala. Gordon was a little bit through there. Elanga shoots, it's blocked. Fabian Schär loses it to Gassan, but Trippier gets it back. Schär to Elanga. Guimaraes into Wissa. To Nala to Gordon. Hall was through, but the highlight goes away. Tyrone Mings is going to come on for Pau Torres. Newcastle have far been the better team. Definitely based on stats and the highlights they've had so far. 4 shots, 1 on target. They've had 14 and 4 on target. Daniel Marlon for Wind. Carazor. Back to Jonas Wind. It's going. Good passing here. It's now with Asako. Ryerson to Marlon. Marlon finds space out wide. He cuts it across for Guessand. Carazor, Ferguson, Sancho. It's out for a corner. Ian Matson's going to come off for Luca Digne, and that's the last substitution for this game. 30 minutes to go. Marlon and Guessand a little bit tired. not performing great. Harvey Barnes is followed by, I think it was Carrazor, yeah it was. Kieran Trippier to take the free kick, and it's a good save by Jesus. Why do I struggle to pronounce his name? It's literally 5 letters. Osako. That simple. Win to Sancho. Across for Gesand. Blocked. We've not really had to test Martinez because we're just not at all one shot on target this entire game. Sacco claims the ball from, I think it was a corner or a free kick. Ryerson to Wind. Dan Burn wins it back from a poor pass. Newcastle just been far the better team. Digne clears, but it's back with Trippier. Murphy goes out for another corner. Sacco to Mings. One back by Trippier, one back by Digne for us, but Sandro Tonali wins it back. Another save for Sacco. Trippier cleared. Murphy goes for the shot, but Carrazor wins it, and we're going to go on a break. Jonas Wind to Marlon. Switch to Jadon Sancho, but he's offside. Fabian Schär now to Kieran Trippier. Jacob Murphy. Lobotka. Dan Burn. Harvey Barnes. Cuts back for Guimaraes. Out back for Dan Burn. Crossed in, cleared again by Aston Villa. Very close in terms of the fact it's 0-0, but in terms of shots and stats in general, Newcastle have been dominating, trying to keep it level or trying to push for a win again, but Newcastle win it back pretty much straight away. Burn to Guimaraes. Lobotka shoots another great save. He scored a top corner finish against us in the first game of the season when we won 4-3 at Villa Park. It's been a much tighter game here, but again, as soon as we get the ball, we lose it pretty much instantly. Cleared again. Gesand for Jonas Wind. Daniel Marlon. Maybe it's chance for an attack. Ryerson cleared by Barnes for a throw-in. Julian Ryerson taking his time, gives it Marlon. Ryerson to Carrazor. Lewis Ferguson back to Daniel Marlon, shoots, and a save by Emiliano Martinez, our former goalkeeper. Digne ball in. I think Wind went for the shot, but it didn't trouble anyone really. Past the post. Murphy's going to go on a break on this right wing. Cuts in across. Blocked by Julian Ryerson. Was Dan Burns' shot. Trippier cleared. Sandro Tonali to Lobotka. Think it was Guimaraes who had the shot then, but it just went over the bar. 23 shots, 8 on target to our 8 and 2 on target, 0-0. Marlon. Julian Ryerson. One back by Harvey Barnes. Dan Burn back to Barnes. Cross to Bruno Guimaraes into Jacob Murphy on the switch. Kieran Trippier to Lobotka. Tonali to Bruno Guimaraes. Dan Burn back to Guimaraes. Back to Burn. Across into the box before. I think it was Wissa, but it was cleared by Osako. We're going to go on a break now. Daniel Marlon. We hit the post. And now Newcastle on a break with Johan Visser, and he scores. A counter-attack where we hit the post and Newcastle finally break the deadlock. They've worked so hard for it. And we crumbled towards the end. There is a bit of a highlight now. Ryerson to Carrazor. Back to Consort. Tyrone Mings out wide to Jadon Sancho. One back by Trippier. Fabian Schär to Willock. Willock into Burn. Harvey Barnes further up the pitch. Tackled by Ryerson. Gets hand to Win. Win loses it again. Willock cuts back for Dan Burn. It's blocked. Win to Marlon. Back to Jonas Wind. Win to Carazor. Lewis Ferguson tries to get it back to Carazor, but the highlight goes away. This is it. Last 40 seconds. Dan Burn to Willock to Lobotka. Dan Burn. Willock to Murtha. Visser. Back to Jacob Murtha. Cleared. Marlon now has it. 10 seconds to play. Wind back to Marlon. Wind to Ryerson. Carazor. This is going to be the full-time whistle. A much closer game in terms of scoreline. Not as many goals. But this time, Newcastle get all 3 points from the game. So we will be back with the result of the Europa League game. Now, so I've just managed to get to the game. I played it, we won 4-0. And that means we're 6th in the Europa League. And the next time we will be back will be for this Chelsea and the United game. We might, and we'll probably include this FA Cup game. Also, seems like you're still here, I'm assuming you're enjoying the content. So, I am going to give you a little teaser. We have a player that's had a bid of 75 million rising to 100 million pounds that I have accepted and will be replaced. So, make sure, because the next time we'll be here will be well after deadline day, because deadline day is coming up. We are going to return here in March, so by then you'll know who it is and who we've replaced them with, and you'll finally know if we've got that keeper, because he's still not joined us. We had to play Osako in the last game. So that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications, and we'll see you in the next episode.